it was a very, very cheap option for them to simply go as a community and lease out the land. So, उन्होंने लेना शुरू कर दिया. ये था मसला कलेक्टर लैंड का टिपिकली. एंड ऐसा बहुत सारा लैंड इज स्टिल अवेलेबल इन मुंबई. I am talking about Leasehold Santa Cruz, but all of Mount Mary and Bandstand, predominantly all of Bandra's coveted Mount Mary and Bandstand, which is probably the most expensive residential area after Altamount Road, is actually collector's
land. Oh.
SV, the last podcast we had, I have got feedback that सबको goosebumps आ रहे हैं, people are feeling like shit, and I am going on a path which I didn't want to go. This is not an emotional drama I am selling. I am not a preacher. I am just telling y'all to venture out, get out of the well and get into the deep sea. The ocean looks scary, but it is beautiful once you're there inside. When you are away from the darkness and visualizing it from a distance, you are scared to get in. But when you get in, no, believe me, the soundest sleep comes when there is darkness, which means there is goodness in darkness too. So, you know, it's not about advocating how cute I am, how sweet I am, how I'm God's chosen one. No. Selling those guineas and all those stories were not said. My father slapping me, it was not said because I was supposed to be the unhero, all right? It was just to tell y'all, the broad message was just to tell y'all that venture out, loosen up, you know, get out of the right and wrong. Yeah, so today I'm finally going to reveal to you a narrative, a story which is far more enterprising, far less emotional than what my first time entry into real estate was all about.
But this will still give goosebumps?
This will not give goosebumps. This will only get intelligence. The moment you're getting goosebumps, please pause the podcast, you know, recoup, gather yourself again and just draw the underlying intelligence out of this podcast. Don't get emotional. You know, just because I jump 10 floors and survive doesn't mean you go to the terrace and you do that. All that you gather is information so that you can play this right. I give these podcasts so that whatever mistakes I have made in life can be avoided. If there is a path already, why do you want to cut a new path? You know, just walk on it. And all those hurdles, those pathways faced, make sure that you have them in check.
Yeah, but what are you trying to say?
So today I'm going to tell you all about an exercise well accomplished by me. And I am very, 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 very proud of all the things I did, but most of all about this particular thing that happened and was conceptualized by me in 2017. A lot of times we want to, you know, avoid doing things because some godforsaken person, our parent, our teacher, you know, our father-in-law, our neighbor, an idiot on the street says, "Ye mat karna, mat karna." Mat karna, yaar, mat karna. And then we avoid trotting those paths.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because resistance डाल दिया ना किसी ने. Then you were scared to do it.
Pursuing an idea never costs money. Executing it does.
Yeah.
So I will tell you all about a very, very strange thing that happened to me. I was always excited about buying old houses. Okay, land हमारे बस की बात बॉम्बे में आज भी नहीं है. तो buy old houses. Hope that they become what they are after redevelopment. I have been in a real-time exercise from start to finish of such a project, and fortunately it has seen the light of the day very recently. In the quest of buying real estate which had appetite to go down and come up again as a new building and hence creating capital value, in the stopgap having rental yield which is a revenue value, I realized that at least Khar Bandra Santa Cruz Jew were getting exhausted of such products. All right. No
Even
problem.
for redevelopment, it was getting.
It was getting exhausted in terms of
Yeah.
redevelopment, right?
Yeah.
Those old buildings, everything that is mushrooming up is new now.
Yeah.
And at least that story to buy something old and then wait for redevelopment was not execution wise possible at all, because
Viable नहीं था anymore.
नहीं, बिल्डिंग ही खत्म हो गई है तो क्या खरीदूंगा मैं, एक एक करके सारी बिल्डिंगें खत्म होती जा रही थी, एंड आई कुडंट गेट मच, और जो मिल रहा था
Yeah.
जूना बिल्डिंग में, द buyers, the sellers were asking for way too much, because they too wanted to be part of that notional profit which eventually is going to happen, right? हर old building के पास जाओ तो dilapidated building, dilapidated house, but वो कहे यार आपका लेकिन टूट के बनेगा ना, so they already were capitalizing on that notional profit. वो आज टूटे 10 साल बाद टूटे, I was already giving him real value for that hype, and that is when I toppled upon a building called Sri Ganesh in Relief Road.
In Relief Road.
In Relief Road, Santa Cruz, very close to the Jew Garden, very close to the Raheja College, and very close to the graveyard of Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
No one wanted to go in that arena. It was quite dark in 1965 types is when this whole thing happened. Government started allotting these lands to, making smaller parcel allotted to all retiring government officials. They were allowed to make a society of 10 people, 15 people approach the government. And
It's like quarters.
Yeah, like a land parcel which eventually would be created as houses, if not quarters, you know. The payment of the structure was supposed to be done by that group of people. Government at a very paltry amount was ready to just rent it out.
Yeah.
So comes the term leasehold title. Government was collector that time. The land was owned by the collector. He was going out and making a show कि boss ये land ले लो और इतना भाड़ा दे दो. Paltry भाड़ा 400, 500, 500, 600 depending on the plot size and the location. While I was not getting freehold land,
Because it was exhausted.
old buildings खत्म हो चुकी थी, and जो थोड़ी बची थी they become very very expensive, and math नहीं बैठ रहा था. I, thanks to one of my broker friends who offered me one of these plots, offered me one of these flats in these so-called collector plots, I didn't know anything about, told me to come and visualize it, and I did go. And it was a second floor without lift, 2-story structure, ground plus 2. The ancient type of buildings made in 1969 types. It was 2017 when I first saw this house. It belonged to a South Indian lady, very graceful, wanted to sell it. She's very old, and when I saw the house, obviously because the fact that it was then leased out to modest houses, modest families, it was not kept very well. It was
What do you mean exactly? Not kept very well.
It was dilapidated. I saw a pigeon in one of the bathrooms dead, but it was available to me at 1,30 lakhs. They had asked for about 150, 160. We negotiated, we got it at 130, which was a steal deal. The biggest and the only caveat was it was collector land.
Oh, what is a collector land?
So, like I told you that certain lands are freehold, certain lands are leasehold. When it's freehold, it means the people who are residing in that land are also the owners of it, right? The title is absolutely their own. They own the land and the structure thereof.
Yes.
What is a leasehold? A leasehold is a land which is not owned by the users, but only the structure thereof on it is used and owned by those people. So they lease out a land instead of buying that land. And apart from the fact that a lot of erstwhile landlords then used to lease out their land to people to use it, just like आप अपना घर भाड़े पे देते हो, एक ज़माने में लोग अपनी ज़मीन भाड़े पे देते थे. उस ज़मीन पे जो स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट होता था वो ठीक था, वो तो बिल्डर का था या सोसाइटी का था जो खरीद रही थी, पर वो लैंड अभी भी वो लैंडलॉर्ड की होती थी. That is leasehold. Incidentally, even the government has a lot of land. Not everything is up for sale. They lease it as well. And who's the controller of all of this government-owned land in the city? Well, he's the collector. And that is why it is collector land. There are other bodies as well, MADA. There are bodies like government estates who also own lands. But here the collector is a major chunk holder of a lot of land, especially the reclaimed, etc. So one of these big suburbs which were created was Relief Road. Townships which were created were Relief Road. about 15-20 plots of 800 odd square meters were cut and eventually leased out to a group of people who would come and approach them कि हमको चाहिए आप ले लो, साइन हो जाती थी, एक पैल्ट्री रेंट के लिए फिक्स हो जाता था, land was leased. What these families would then they were supposed to do was they were supposed to construct.
Yeah.
Even then they were allowed some bank loan as well on that structure. And then they were supposed to stay in harmony, keep paying the rent. Structure was owned by them. That is collector leasehold for you. It is a taboo. किसी को भी बोलो कलेक्टर लैंड हमारे बाप दादाओं को पूछो या ब्रोकर्स को पूछो erstwhile people who are in real estate नहीं कलेक्टर लैंड से दूर रहना
Why?
बस दूर रहना वाई तो किसी को नहीं मालूम था.
बट अगर बैंक लोन देने के लिए तैयार है देन व्हाट इज द इशू?
सो उस जमाने में बैंक घर के लिए लोन नहीं देती थी. The only thing you were allowed as a community then was to keep the create the superstructure. कुछ फंड मिल जाते थे, कुछ टाइम मिल जाता था, तो आपने अपना आर्किटेक्ट एज अ ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स आर्किटेक्ट इन्वॉल्व किया, रेती सीमेंट का पैसा वैसा दिया, उसको खड़ा कर दिया और लोग रहने लगते थे. उस वक्त इतना there was not too much of hype ना, छोटी सी बिल्डिंग होती थी, सीढ़ियाँ बना दी, ऊपर रह गए. So these modest families who couldn't buy flats, it was a very very cheap option for them to simply go as a community and lease out the land. So उन्होंने लेना शुरू कर दिया. ये था मसला कलेक्टर लैंड का टिपिकली. एंड ऐसा बहुत सारा लैंड इज स्टिल अवेलेबल इन मुंबई. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट Leasehold Santa Cruz, but all of Mount Mary and Bandstand, predominantly all of Bandra's coveted Mount Mary and Bandstand, which is probably the most expensive residential area after Altamount Road, is actually collector's
land. Oh.
So the who's who are staying there and they are staying there happily. So क्या होता था उस टाइम पे ब्यूरोक्रेसी थोड़ी we used to see government as a rigid body, but we are the ones who democratically appointed them, right?
Yeah.
And we are the beneficiaries. Why fear them when you appointed them? You don't fear engagements you make with people, right? You actually make the best out of it. These guys are standing up there so that you as a beneficiary in the city have a better life. So fearing them was a protocol that time. Everybody used to say, नहीं, government दूर रहो, court कचहरी दूर रहो, police दूर रहो, प्रशासन दूर रहो. अरे why?
But has there been a case of court कचहरी, government pushing their residents away? ऐसा कुछ हुआ है?
It is historic proof that government doesn't evict you.
Yeah.
Nor do those courts allow it to happen.
Yeah. So you are protected.
You are absolutely protected. They're a government. The governing body is for your advantage. Not something you need to fear. Just because the law says you murder someone and you're going to be hanged, you don't fear the law.
Yeah.
You're not going to murder someone. What will law do to you? Nothing. You don't jump the signal. What can a Havaldar standing on the corner do to you? Nothing. You need to understand that that good Samaritan is working for law-abiding citizens like you and me, so that we have harmony and peace around us.
So it's a myth. Fear around a myth.
It was an absolute myth, which I broke for myself incidentally when I realized that in Santa Cruz, where 50,000 में भी मेरे को जूनी बिल्डिंगों में फ्लैट फ्री होल्ड में नहीं मिल रहा था, ये मैडम तो मेरे को 30,000 रुपए के भाव से देना चाह रही थी. So I wanted to ponder upon it. My broker told me 1 लाख रुपया आपको देने का कलेक्टर को और फ्री होल्ड हो जाएगा. ये तो बहुत अच्छा है. रादर फ्री होल्ड नहीं, आपको ट्रांसफर मिल जाएगा. कई लोग कहते थे कौन जाएगा बाबूगिरी में, पेपर दो, ट्रांसफर होए, कब होता है ट्रांसफर, कौन करेगा, एंड दिस इज ऑल रबिश. बैंक्स तब लोन नहीं देती थी. कलेक्टर वुडंट अलाउ दैट. कलेक्टर वाज द ओनर ऑफ द लैंड, हेंस ही वाज गवर्निंग द स्ट्रक्चर्स, पे ऑल द कमर्शियल डील्स हैपनिंग एज वेल. रेंट पे देना है, भाड़े के लिए कलेक्टर से परमिशन. लोन लेने का है, कलेक्टर बोले बिल्कुल अलाउड नहीं है. तो एक बहुत बड़ा कैविएट था कि लोन्स जो है इस पे नहीं मिलते थे, आपको अपना सच्चा पैसा देना था. बट व्हेन वी स्ट्रक द डील, we needed collective permission to transfer this whole structure, right? So
we are talking 2017,
where collector land पे कुछ बिकता ही नहीं था, बहुत मुश्किल से बिकता था. इसीलिए वो बेचारे आधे प्राइस पे देने को तैयार थे. मैंने कहा, I went to the collector office, wanted to understand the processes, and I was told how it is done. It was nothing. Only the society needed to apply that there is a transaction, commercial transaction happened between Mrs. Katti then, who was a flat owner, and me. Collector एक fee लेता है और उसने वो पैसे लेके 4-5 महीने का प्रोसेस लगा था. That is also not because of the office of the collector. It was because मुझे भी समझना था, पहली बार था. It was being difficult for me. But at the end of the day, I got the transfer, and in December, somewhere in mid 2017, I conceptualized this whole thing. In December 2017, I was a member of that society. Mrs. Katti was no longer the society member, and I was. And I was a proud owner of a 2-bedroom hall, compact, 600 square foot, at 1.3 crore rupees plus stamp duty, a little bit of marammat. Obviously, I spent about 8-9 lakh rupees on doing up the place. I want to believe itna kuch tha, itna yaad nahi hai. कुछ जूना फर्नीचर भी लेके आ गया, पेंटिंग शेडिंग करा के उसको I made it all right.
But tell me, did you have that resistance in your mind when you came to know that it's collector land? आप 2 second, did you do your research or were you scared? Were you rethinking this deal?
दूर से अंधेरा बहुत डरावना लगता है, लेकिन सबसे प्यारी नींद तभी आती है जब रूम में पूरी तरह आप अंधेरा कर देते हो. So I am one of those who believe that अंधेरे में अच्छाई होती है. Everybody told me not to do this. But no one had a concrete answer why I shouldn't do it, right? When a Lion King movie में मुफासा अपने बेटे को कहता है वो दूर जो प्राइड लैंड्स के आगे अंधेरा दिखता है वहाँ जाना नहीं. It used to be the elephant graveyard, but he never explained to them explained Simba क्यों. You know, Pride Rock पे बैठा हूँ मैं, इस जंगल का सबसे powerful animal हूँ, but वहाँ नहीं जाना. So controversial, you know. I'm a realtor. I'm putting money. Its land belongs to a collector who's the government representative. खा जाएगा क्या? What is the problem? देखिए तो सही. Why can't we go to that office? This is what we lack. Venturing out to these places and understanding. Na is an answer, right? Na is an answer. लेकिन who said we shouldn't be informed before saying that no? पहले हर फाइल थोड़ी ना बोलने के हिसाब से देखनी चाहिए. समझे तो सही. तो मैं समझने गया. Everything was done and everything went very, very smoothly. I respect the collector office because they were very proactive, very informative, and stood by me and gave me my transfer. Legitimately gave me my transfer, saying that this now belonged to me. My society was great. In the matter of 1 month, I was actually renting it out already at about 50,000 rupees, so to say. And everything was great. And I was now wanting to understand how this will be redeveloped. 2017 was too early to talk to all the members about this whole thing. I must tell you that redevelopment may, the only thing that most buildings who cannot redevelop lack is leadership. You need to have trusted leadership. Maybe 1, 2, 3 people as a senate or a single leader leading this whole thing as the secretary. Someone needs to be doing the right thing and has to be trusted for that. And then things work. 28, 38 sitting together and trying to drive this collectively will never see the light of the day. I was new. I was, it took time to get friendly with them. They used to call me for the general body meetings, etc. They were wanting to do redevelopment, and there were a lot of intelligent people over there who understood subject matters broadly. And then I came in and I had a little gyan about developers and what it should be like. But developers too were shying away from collector land that time. Yeah.
Why? Again, myth?
I think it is bureaucracy broadly. It was the bureaucracy. But as life had to have it, the government came with subsidy and said that if you wanted to make your land freehold, the societies were becoming old, builders were not ready to develop, and this was a crisis for the city, right? The beneficiaries of the city were troubled, and a lot of them were writing to the government to do something about it. Now, the government forever had a law that if you paid 60% of the ready reckoner of the land, ready reckoner is a government book, right? Which ascertains valuation in terms of the flats, offices, land as a whole, everything is there in that ready reckoner in terms of valuation. That's how stamp duty is paid too.
Yeah.
So they said that if this ready reckoner 60% is something, if you're ready to cough up, we are ready to part with this land to you, back to you at freehold. Can you imagine a land you have leased out at a paltry 100 odd rupees is suddenly being given back to you at 60% of the ready reckoner? Can it go wrong? You couldn't go wrong. But yet there was resistance because most of these families who were buying these flats were modest families.
Yeah.
Retired people who came together to make their houses and all that. It was difficult to cough up that money. And again, lacked leadership, lacked knowledge, and the fear to connect with the government bodies also made it a very undoing. It is not possible. So when we came together, as life has to have it, कुछ time में मैं काफी close हो गया उनके साथ. And then after that, unfortunate time came, that was COVID.
COVID,
Lockdown and everything that was happening then, excitement with builders, and builders finally coming ahead and saying, "Arey, collector is ready to do freehold and things like this, let's work on it," fell flat. And then 2 years we did nothing. After those 2 years, काफ़ी थकान हो जाती है. You have to gather your own community and then bind them with the builders. And here we had another issue. Freehold में क्या होता है, society versus builder होता है. वही डिफिकल्ट होता है इतने माइंडसेट्स का इकट्ठा होना. नाउ वी हैव अ कलेक्टर आल्सो. इसका भी माइंडसेट, इसका भी माइंड फ्रेम, इस सबको बना के एक रेसिपी बनाना ना, तो जो लीडर्स हो जाए वो थक जाते हैं. पीपल हु वांट, तो इधर भी कुछ ऐसा ही हो गया था. अनफॉर्चुनेटली इतना टाइम एनर्जी डालने के बाद 3-4 जो इंटेलेक्ट से काफ़ी सारे अब्रॉड रहते थे, वो बेचारे तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते थे. तो इन्होंने कुछ किया पर कुछ हुआ नहीं. फिर कोविड के बाद तो बिल्कुल टूट गए. They had signed some understandings, but the builders didn't go ahead. फिर there was a dumping ground issue जिसकी वजह से pan Mumbai real estate redevelopment had taken a big hit just before somewhere around 2010-11. So it was jeopardized. In their mind, the entire process was like butchered. And 2021, I think somewhere around 2021, they made me the secretary. They said, "Listen, we want to give the building to the registrar. We are tired." And I said, "Why? Why? We'll run it." No?
Yeah.
And I said, "Let me now take a dig at it. You all have all done whatever." And as life had to have it, it was sweet that they allowed me the liberty of, in spite of not literally an outsider, but I was an outsider. I was not staying there. मेरा तो घर भाड़े पे था. And I was doing fine. As of now, 74,000 के भाड़े पे. So I was really fine. ठीक है, और कुछ नहीं तो love is not lost. भाड़ा आ रहा है, EMI भरे जा रहा हूँ, काम करे जा रहा हूँ. In this whole walk, there are few good things that happen. Government started becoming liberal, like I told you. Number one, because the old buildings were not getting solutions for redevelopment, and the fear of them collapsing and taking toll on the human life was now becoming a bigger concern than anything else for the government. So the government said, "Okay, take loans, no problem. I'll allow you to take loans to repair the building, to take home loans, to buy out property from existing buyers, and a lot of soaps like this. Don't come to me for rental as long as there's good police verification, the good people staying. We don't want to interfere. Let the societies themselves decide." So the grip they had, that solid orthodox grip, they loosened it.
This is when post-COVID.
This was just before COVID. This started happening. When they started losing grip, we started garnering more and more interest from builders, and there was an undercurrent that the building, the government is going to create subsidy, give soaps, even in that 60%. And finally, they did give that liberty. They gave the discount. But unfortunately, no one came forward. The fraternity of builders were busy developing freehold land. They still didn't want to come into the collector Jamela. Where it was very strange कि builder को immediately कुछ investment collector को देनी थी, जो भी पैसा था तो collector को देना था. But collector said, "Don't give me 60%, give me 15% of the ready reckoner, and I will give the land back to you." Some buildings started doing it. Hype started being created. The biggest hype that was created was in Mount Mary. It was a sitting duck to make profit after this 15%. GR was released by, and we had a glut of builders suddenly racing and begging every society in Bandstand and Mount Mary to sign off with them. They were giving them schemes like, "Oh, we'll pay off the collector and then you sign with us," and things like this. And today, as we speak, 90% of all that land is exhausted, which was with collector and hopeless for all the for all the users, sitting on offers like 100% extra, huge corpuses, and paying off the collector and things like that.
Okay, so firstly, you get investor can get the land already under the market valuation. Secondly, you can pay off 60. It used to be you can pay off 60% of the ready rec now, but that got reduced to
15%, 75% discount. Yes. So land, typically Sri Ganesh was at 7, close to 6 odd crore rupees, close to 6-7 crore rupees is what we need to pay to make it freehold. We have paid only 1.5 crores. A little less than 1.5 crores, and we got it freehold.
So please tell me the story has to end with a jackpot because
Yeah, so now that collectors were wooing the
Yeah.
builders were wooing every collector
Yeah.
land. Obviously, the shouts came to us as well. And I was at the right time, at the right place, with the right people in my society. I became secretary, and my entire connect with my real estate friends, developers, I started pushing to them. We
Yeah.
started getting offers. It became very lucrative for both us and the builder at large. And we got an offer a couple of years back from a developer, and we broadly agreed, and then started the typical legal tussle
Yeah.
of going back and forth. Their lawyers, our lawyers, which every freehold society also has to go
Yeah.
through that rigmarole. Generally, it takes about 6 to 8 months, a year maybe, if not worse. But we finally managed to sign the DA. Today, Sri Ganesh stands on a freehold land, signed off with a developer, our 600 square foot becoming almost 800 square foot. Not only that, our 55-year-old building is standing now to have 2 basement parkings and a 9-story superstructure,
Wow.
2 solid elevators, one of them probably a stretcher elevator, and the excitement is uncomparable. This experiment of investing about close to 1.5 crores today has already got me valuation. Just with this paper, I can go outside and easily sell it for 2.5 crore rupees. And all the rent that I've amassed, I'm not even talking about that. And if this building actually gets constructed, which we assume it will be in the next 2 years, we will have at least a 3.5 crore valuation on this
That's
property.
double your investment.
And it will be
A
freehold
bit more
for
than
all
that.
those people who don't want to venture into the darkness.
Yeah.
My land will
Yeah.
be free. So,
You took a koila from the mine and today it's
so
full-blown solitaire ring.
I would not say koila, but I would definitely say that it was a diamond. It was uncut.
Uncut
It
diamond,
was uncut,
yeah.
And we just need to brave enough to, cut it and get its glory, deserving glory. Me and all the other 11 members of the society are extremely joyous. We are freehold, which we never thought we would be.
Yeah.
We would always have so many thought processes, ifs and buts and whys, and it would never conceptualize into an execution, a successful execution. So today here we are, signed with the DA. Hopefully 2 months from now we will be vacating so that the old building comes down. And this has been a success run. To all those people, all the way from the collector office who supported us, to my society who believed in me when I became secretary and allowed me the liberty of structuring this whole thing for them, I would want to really give credit to my curiosity, my gut, an intelligent gut. I'm not saying that we should go blindly and do things, but my desire to understand the subject matter, my desire to challenge the traditional thinking.
Yeah, and venture into the elephant grave.
Finally, the Simba who ventured into the elephant grave and braved the storm. It has been a fabulous exercise. So today, to all those who want to trade in real estate, or alternately want to stay in a certain suburb which is beyond their reach, or who want to simply buy something to rent it out, I will take this piecemeal pay. All those who want to invest, I have a classic module of collector land being the most promising investment when you are trying to tap the redevelopment opportunity as an investor. It's the most lucrative option. Again, bank loan conveniently available at 8.5%, just like freehold, makes it like a sweet spot in the investment arena today in Mumbai vis-a-vis a freehold, where the sellers are very, very difficult to crack. Second, if you are a user, assuming you're a user in Santa Cruz area, in Bandra area, let us use this as a classic example. You are still getting things at 40,000 rupees a square foot with the hope that it could redevelop into something really big and nice. But at the same time, you will be staying in a promising pin code,
Yeah.
which otherwise on freehold would be nothing less than 55-60,000 rupees. So you have a haircut of about 30-40%,
Yeah.
and still enjoying the privilege of being called Mumbai 54,
Yeah.
as in my case. Number third, if you are purely an investor who are seeking rent as an advantage, the tenant who's coming to rent your place doesn't care a damn about it being freehold or leasehold, right? Whether it's collector land is built on or society owns the land.
Yeah.
He just needs a good flat to stay in, where water comes, electricity is there, there is a gas pipeline and a decent infrastructure to obviously exploit.
Yeah.
And he gives you the same rent as he would give a unit which is freehold.
Freehold.
So in all these three conditions, rental yield, excitement, stay for yourself in a coveted pin code you could otherwise not afford,
Yeah.
and alternately someone like me who buys for longevity, for stability, for sustainability, there is no other bet better than buying an old flat in a collector environment. And there is lot of availability even today as an opportunity. I would request everybody who's in Mumbai and thinks of going to Thana, thinks of going away because he can't afford, Borivali or far off lands because he can't afford the prime suburbs, but has age on his side, someone like you.
Yeah.
Just
Consider,
because, just because those things bother you, don't discount the option of having collector land. Do not by any chance get carried away by pessimist behavior.
Yeah.
If you have concrete answers, if you have answers that satiate your
Should be
worries
logical, na? Yeah.
and your threats are pampered, then
Yeah.
great, don't
Yeah.
venture out.
Yeah.
But if you do not have those, make sure you go and get the real locus standi of all of these things. I must end this podcast today by saying that this journey from 2017 to now is successful for me as an entrepreneur of this business, as a trader of this business. And I tell everybody that even now, if you really seek an opportunity as a retail buyer, this is better than anything that would come your way. Collector land. Please stick to finding collector land. Allow yourself to be the leader. Get into the skin of the game.
Yeah.
Make sure you make your neighbors of that particular property believe that this is possible. And that's it. And you, and in my case, 11 other members are beneficiaries of this brave thought. For me wanting to give back to everybody who's an enthusiast of Bombay real estate. I've always said that there are 3 places to invest in the country. If you want to make money as an investor, first is Bombay, second is Bombay, and third is Bombay. So please see this podcast. Make sure you broadcast it to, forward it to everybody near and dear, friends, family, to make yourself make this judicious choice of eventually owning something much more easily than you otherwise would. So thank you for hearing me today, and glad you could, take back something from my experiences today. You're smiling. I only hope that you quickly find something, and I'm there for anything else. Thank you so much.
Thank you.